All right, welcome to the TWC Leadership Channel on YouTube. Thanks for being here. We're actually welcoming you to our staff meeting. We're opening the doors to our staff meeting about the first 5 minutes to talk about a very important principle or value that will help us be a church that will really make a difference in our county. And so, I just want to say thank you because you're watching this because you're a volunteer or you're a leader and you're making a difference. And so we just want to equip you to do the best possible job. So today we're concluding in episode 8 of Replace Yourself Part 4. Now what we've been talking about is this idea of every ministry at our church needs to be a pipeline of leaders, right? And in order to be that pipeline, this is one of the best strategies in creating leaders and developing leaders is this idea or this value called replace yourself. But in order to replace yourself, we've said you need to break it down into 3 different steps. The first step is to break it down. That means that we've got to write it down. That's why we've said all ministries need to have a manual. To break it down means to figure out with the ministry how to do it in understandable and doable steps. And of course, the second step was to hand it off. And to hand it off, we said you need to not just drop the whole ministry in someone's lap and says, hey, you're replacing me, but it's about being intentional and gradually giving over parts of the ministry to the people that have proven themselves that they can handle that. Start small before you go big. But today, this may be obvious, but let it go. So if you have visions of Frozen in the song, let it go. Here's the idea. When it comes to breaking it down, obviously getting it prepared, handing it off, being more of a coach, letting it go is really you've entered into a new level of leadership. You're no longer the player on the field, you are the coach. But you're still responsible. If the players lose, the coach loses too. And so there's this idea of your leadership needs to go beyond the hands-on to more of the influence. So here's some things to consider when it comes to letting something go. That when you hand it off to the person, that things will probably slightly be different. If you hand it off to someone, in order to let it go, that person's probably going to do the ministry just a slightly different than you. And it's important to understand the difference between preferences and quality of work. I think to keep people accountable to doing a great job, it's important, but we don't want to just make little mini us. God has given them abilities, God has given them gifts and talents, and so allowing them to grow and expand in that. So not correcting preferences, but quality of work. And you are still responsible, even if you hand it off. The coach is still responsible for the players, even though they weren't on the play, on the field. So it's still important to be involved, but not micromanage. And then, of course, keep clear about expectations and evaluate those expectations. I think this is important that when you're handing something off and letting it go, you still have a role in evaluating. You still have a role in setting expectations. And it's important to, though you let it go, it's not out of mind. You still are responsible, but again, you're creating a pipeline where you're raising up leaders within your ministry. And break it down, hand it off, and let it go. And that is Replace Yourself Part 4.